Mike's Peaks, but we picked it up from that point on. Everybody just wanted to know more detailed about Nyami Nyami by the day from that time on. And to eat as it is right now, you'll notice that even if you wander around town, most of the tourists, they'll still have that lucky charm around the neck. Because that's what they believe that everybody takes. Nyami Nyami, if you're going to be on the Zambezi River, you've got to have a Nyami Nyami with you. Because the only god that you have on the Zambezi River. But remember, on the good old days, even with Wabob, we'd get on top of the rapid and everybody on the raft would say Nyami Nyami Nitandize before we even run the rapid. And it felt to be a blessing from the river god, which would make it upright. Everybody's on the raft. At the bottom side of the rapid, everybody goes, yeah! Because that's what they did. So,
So, which year did you start working for Sobek?
Sobek? So we started Sobek in 1981 when he just came in for the first exploratory trip that they did out here on the Zambezi. When they came back from the first 7 days trip, a friend of mine got hooked up with them doing a little bit of pottering. And then after that, I was in Nakatindi. I was doing, me and my friend of mine, his name is Simon Sakala. He's the late now. We were getting ourselves to go into the army or so. So during that time, while we were waiting to get the feedback, and then Sobek came up, and they're like, well, before we even go out there, why don't we make a little bit of money while these guys are here? So we started with them very much as porters, so helping out cutting the equipment down and out of the gorge. As time was going on, the army thing kind of faded out of the way because of the period it was taking, but it's just because it was 81. Zimbabwe has just gotten independent. Livingstone was crowded with military people, freedom fighters, Zambia Army, ZAF, Zambia National Service, they were all in Livingstone. So everybody at that time thought being in the military or being in the force was the only best way or the easiest way to get a job. So this is why everybody was kind of pumped up to go into that end. So when this thing started up on it, and then we said, well, you can actually do this and make money and still have a life. Why do we really have to go to the military? So the whole thing kind of flipped the other way around. So we started being hooked up with Sobek from that time on. Despite Sobek coming in for only 5 months at a time at that time, still they gave us that confidence to say that, well, if you keep on with these guys, you may come up to do something better than you ever done in your life, or something that you ever thought you were going to do in your life, which was very much rafting. And rafting was one of the last sports that anybody thought was going to come up on here. I mean, we all knew the Zambezi River. We all walked by there, and nobody thought that we were going to come up and start doing rafting. And here's a white man coming up into this African country, and suddenly they pump up this rubber boat and they put him on the river, and rafting is happening. And we all know in the beginning how it all started. People were talking about, no, they're looking for gemstone down there, there's gold, there's what, they're getting stones out of the crocodile head and all that kind of thing. And more of the locals were invited to come down the river. The whole face changed. People started understanding the whole thing, that it wasn't really like they were saying. It's a sport with interest that you can understand it. If you don't have that interest, you probably wouldn't really understand it. But when you look at it right now, it has mushroomed from where it used to be to where it is right now. It's a huge crowd of people that go on there.
How old were you?
I was in my, say, 17, 18, somewhere up on there.
Wow, you weren't scared of the water, the rapids, and or you started by helping out with the boats?
We started by helping out with the boat and watching them crazy guys going on down the river, and at that time saying they were really crazy because you haven't been on it yet. And the moment you get on it, you get a feel for it, and then you understand it different. Like I said, it's a sport of an interest. If you don't have an interest, then you can't understand it. So you've got to be there to understand the whole thing. So when you started going on the river ourselves, the interest started getting in there. We started to know to say, this is a sport. Only a different sport from this other sport that you would say, I want to be #1. This was sport of a challenge of your own. The safety of yourself, the safety of your people, the safety of the others that you are with on the river. So that's where the difference has been from that time to what it is now.
What